I love you so much, Miss Amber. I'm so honored to have you here. You have been such a well of knowledge in my life. And good morning, YouTube.
Hi.
Meeting my beautiful sister, Amber, this morning. I love this series because it gives me the opportunity to have these fully embodied, satiating conversations with people that I love and I've personally worked with too. So I just feel the resonance. And it feels amazing to be here. So good morning, YouTube. Make sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up because it really does help my algorithm on YouTube get found. And we are here, I'm here creating this digital series of local healers to help to my community as a index. So they could feel called to whoever, what healer, knowing that there's different modalities, knowing that there's amazing healers here in this community. And because I just feel like it should be accessible. So this is why I created this series on my channel. After all, my channel was made for self-love, and taking care of yourself is all in residence of self-care and healing and having other practitioners help you through your journey. We can't do it all alone, and we should never feel all alone. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already by hitting the subscribe button and hit the red bell notification icon so you will get notified when I upload new content. I'm going to come up with these healing videos with interviewing local healers 2 times a week, and you don't want to miss none of that because we're having very juicy conversations that promote healing. This morning I have Miss Amber. She is a retired naturopathic doctor.
Yeah.
And she steps out into the world in our community as a herbalist. Is that what you like to call it?
Herbalist, yeah.
Herbalist. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. I've taken some courses from her and I've learned an immense amount of things, and it has promoted my healing. So that's why I felt called to have Miss Amber here. She's a well of knowledge, and we're going to step out with whatever she'd like to share. So yeah, introduce yourself too, Miss Amber.
Hi, good morning, Marianne, and good morning to everyone who's watching. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you, Marianne, for giving me this opportunity to speak and share a little bit about what I do. My name is Amber Golshani, and I am a retired naturopathic doctor. I think like many people, I found my profession because of the self-healing that I needed to do. So I was pretty young, diagnosed with an illness, a disease that at that time that doctor told me like, you'll just have to take these pills for the rest of your life. There's pretty much nothing you can do about it. And I was a very headstrong 22-year-old, and I was like, no, no, I'm not doing that. And so I was in my final year of undergraduate college, and it just lined up this way that I had planned my last semester of my college career to be spent in Australia. And while I was there, I was studying an environmental science perspective, which was more in alignment with what my undergraduate degree is in, which is chemistry. But while I was there, I met a naturopathic doctor, and that just totally changed the course of my life. I didn't even know that the profession existed. Like in the United States, I'd never heard of it. I didn't know there was such a thing. I grew up in a pretty conventional household. I was, from the time I started my menses at 12, I was popping, Advils like candy to deal with anything from the headaches to the cramps, etc. And I just thought that's just the way that it's got to be. But she spoke to my heart, and I knew, oh my God, this is me. This is what I'm meant to do with my life. So I came back to the United States, and the first thing was I started working on myself, doing some of the recommendations that she had talked about, paying more attention to my diet. I mean, at that point I was like I was working as a waitress in a bar restaurant, eating, burgers and drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. And I mean, it was kind of no wonder that my health was in bad shape. So I came back to the United States. I started playing around with my diet and taking some minerals and a couple supplements. And within a year, I had totally righted myself from this diagnosis that was given to me that was like, this is your lifelong
Forever going to be a thing, right? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. I completely reversed it within a year. And that was just me reading books and trying things out on my own. And so at that point, I started to research where there were schools that offered this naturopathic medical degree. I applied to the medical school. I got in. In naturopathic medicine is equivalent to any other medical school that you could apply to. We study the same amount of anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, all the same basic medical sciences, but we come from a perspective that the body can heal itself and wants to heal itself. And that's not really the case with our dominant medical system. The dominant medical system assumes that, if you get a headache, that means the body's broken. So take a painkiller. The naturopathic perspective, which is really the vitalistic perspective, which is really the indigenous and traditional perspective of, cultures all over the world, is that the body is a part of nature, which is a part of the universe, which is a part of God, if you will, call it what you want. But that if we believe that all of that is ordered and intelligent and happens for a reason, when the leaves fall off my tree in the fall, I don't say, oh my God, nature's broken. Let's go out there and try to tape them back on. I understand that this is part of the process. So when I get a headache, that's my body saying, something's going on that we need to pay deeper attention to. The headache is just the symptom. So I have to understand, what is the root cause? It could be a food allergy, could be digestive related, it could be stress, it could be eye strain, it could be, a number of things. And if we don't address the root cause, then we'll never really achieve a cure. We'll never really be healed. It'll just keep happening again and again.
Yeah. And a lot with Western medicine also I see is they want to put the Band-Aid on it. They don't really want to go to the root cause too. So they want to just stop the symptom and not really go to the root cause. But then by putting those Band-Aids on, then we end up having more other symptoms.
Yeah.
Because you never go to the root cause. It's like, if you never get the root out of the garden, the weed, right, it's going to grow back.
Exactly. And, I do believe there is a time and a place for all medicine to exist in our healing paradigm.
Right.
But many of our, so-called modern medicines, like you said, number one, they're not addressing the root cause. They're just kind of silencing the messenger of the body, which is there for a reason. And then a lot of times they'll cause subsequent problems. Right. So now, the pill that I'm taking for this problem causes a side effect, which is this problem. So now I have to take a pill for that problem. And then we get these situations where, people are on dozens of medications and still feel like garbage. And that, when I was in private practice, which I did for about a dozen years on the East Coast, many of the people I saw, most of the people I saw were people that would come into me with like a shopping bag full of pills, prescribed drugs, over-the-counter drugs, and supplements that they just are, trying something, grabbing it off the shelf, and they still felt like crap. So it wasn't even working what they were doing. And they were, making themselves feel worse with all of that stuff. So, that was a beautiful time in my life, being in that doctor role. And the doctor role is really about treating, preventing, curing disease. So it's very disease focused. And as I've gotten older, hopefully a little wiser, and engaged in more of my own healing, because I'm still on this journey, myself primarily. What I've learned is that what is most in alignment for me is to help restore health. So that, to me, that's like way different than saying, let's treat your disease.
Yeah.
I'm coming from the perspective of how can we improve health? As you improve health, all those things that, we might say are going wrong are naturally going to get better, because a healthy body doesn't need to produce those symptoms that say, ouch, I hurt, or, this isn't happening, or this is going wrong. A healthy body is vibrant and feels good. And when symptoms arise, we know what it takes to move the body towards health. So if we can move the body towards health, the body heals itself. And I feel like that's one of the main messages that I want to use this time for. It's that we have the ability to heal ourselves. And that is like way different than the messages that we're getting today.
Yeah.
We are divine. We are part of this natural universe that everything is interconnected. And so that, the same energy that created the trees that know when to drop their leaves is that same energy inside of us. And we know what to do when we can put the right ingredients together. Our bodies know what to do.
Yes, yes, sister, I hear you. I feel you. And we are part of nature. We're not, um, we're not discordant island from nature.
Yes.
We are nature. We are from the earth. And speaking of, behind her, everybody, do you see her amazing shelf full of all her lovely beauty and magic over there? Yes. So that's where you like to use things like behind you from the earth to help
Yeah.
initiate that self-healing power, magic within us.
Yes. So part of my formal education, we learned about nutrition and diet. We also learned about botanical medicine or herbs. We learned homeopathy. We learned mind-body medicine, acupuncture, physical medicine, and a number of other things. But as I, where I'm finding myself drawn to right now is using herbs as one of my primary healing modalities. And herbs are from the earth.
Yeah.
And it is something that our bodies know how to interact with, because we've been using them for thousands of years. We have written records from Ayurvedic medicine, which is the traditional medical system of India. It's sort of considered the sister science of yoga, but we have records that go back 3,000 to 5,000 years of people using herbs to bring their bodies back into balance and restore harmony. So most herbs are very gentle, are generally very safe, especially when we use them in their whole forms. And, I will say too, that like now, our culture, we're very much like, hey, more is better, right? So we take, oftentimes you'll see people, you can go buy a supplement of an herb that has been condensed, 1,000 teacups full of herbs in one capsule. And we take that and we think that's better because it's more concentrated, but that is not always the case. And the more that we concentrate, the more we are getting like drug-like effects, and the narrower the window of its safety profile becomes. So I really like to use herbs in their whole form. And
can we mention really quick that you have those classes? Because I didn't know about that, because I went to Vitamin Cottage and got the capsules, and then how much you have taught me and taught the community already by the 2 classes that you have held on the proper usage of herbs, that you have those classes. So everyone make sure to go down below in the description box of this video. All Miss Amber's handles will be down there, because she does offer classes to educate us on how to use these herbs.
Yeah, that is some of the most fun I've had in this last year, is inviting women, and men are invited too, of course, but I think it's all been women. We've had young women from around the age of 12 and 14, all the way to grandmothers, which I think is also really beautiful, sitting around my kitchen table and making medicine together.
Yeah.
So in these classes, I'm not just giving a list of, traditionally, or not traditionally, a lot of our culture, we think like, oh, what herb do I take for this illness or disease? But we're really trying to learn how to use herbs to promote our overall health. So yeah, these classes I'm doing in person right now. And my plan for this year is to get them recorded, so they'll be available online for anybody, anywhere.
And I love that they
And
have
yeah,
themes. Like the first class I ever took with you was immune building. The second class I took with you was rejuvenation.
yes,
And then the third class I'll be taking you with come spring is detox. Like I love that.
yeah,
I love that they have themes and you give different,
yes,
like over 6, I think, or 8 to 10 herbs almost you give us to
yeah,
use to
yes.
help us with those.
Yeah, and I pick those themes kind of based off of where we are in the seasonal cycle of the year,
Right.
which I think is really important too, because
So
like we were
important.
saying, we are nature, we are part of nature, and
Mhm.
we're not meant, the same energy that we have in the summer where the days are really long and we want to go, go, go and get a lot accomplished. That's very different than the winter months, where it is more natural for us to be a little more internal and do that deep
Rejuvenate.
rejuvenation work, like you were
Yep.
saying.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
why
why
not
I
use
talked about it.
herbs to help amplify that for us, right?
Yes, yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then trying to live a lifestyle that is in harmony with the seasons and cycles of nature, because we have those seasons and cycles inside of us,
Yeah.
of course, of
Mhm.
course. And so
And
in
she
the
has,
classes,
yeah, I
oh,
want to mention what you taught
yeah,
us to make. You taught us to make an extract, the alcohol extract, which is called
a tincture.
a tincture. So I know
Yes.
how to make tinctures now.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, you taught us how to make those little dissolvable pellets.
Yep. That's called a pastille, which is just a fancy French word for a little pill.
It's like
So
a
we make
natural
these pills.
lozengers.
Yep. You could suck on it. You could swallow it if you wanted, but you could also dissolve it in hot water to make your own little
Right.
tea
And it was immune
also.
boosting, so I loved that.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
how grounding these herbs taste. They're very earthy.
Mm,
So, and we talk about this, the taste buds, right? And even to
yeah.
Ayurvedic, to what your knowledge is and your background, the taste buds and how
Yeah.
that helps healing all in itself, just our taste buds, but they're very grounding. Like there's the taste of even them has medicine,
Yes,
much less when they
definitely.
start to be digested and then they really work with our body, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
we can tell a lot by just the flavor of the herb that we're tasting about what it will do for our bodies. Because long before we had, microscopes and we could distill down and say, oh, this is the active ingredient in the body, we used our mouth as our chemistry
Yeah,
lab
that's
to
so
tell our body,
true.
to understand what effects the herbs are going to have.
Yes.
So I try to, incorporate herbs is part of daily living. And I think that's what I tried to get across in my classes too, is that herbs are like really nutrient rich sources of nutrition for our bodies, and best used as part of a lifestyle. So not just waiting until we get sick and then saying, oh, what herb can I take instead of this pill? What herb can I take instead of this drug? But really, the more that we use them as part of our daily nourishment,
Proactive,
the
right?
right, the more vibrant we are, the more resilient we are, the more protected we are.
Yeah.
So that we're looking to improve health. So our overall level of health can improve, which just makes us more robust and more healthy, more
Yeah.
adaptable.
And I have to say, Miss Amber, when you taught me to not take them in the capsules and to actually have them loose in my tea and what have you, or
Mm,
whatever
yeah.
elixir I'm drinking, because I had used ashwagandha and rhodiola for years, and I
Mm,
felt the benefits last for about a year, but then I
mhm,
felt like I plateaued with them. And then when
mhm.
you taught me that, and I got the loose powders from you,
Yeah.
you're back. The magic's back.
Yeah.
My adrenals are happy. My cortisol is down. So and I would have gave up. I would have just gave up and
Mhm.
be like, oh, I guess this is just not for me anymore. But I
Yeah.
chose to get educated by you, and I felt the power back, and I'm drinking some right
Yes.
now.
I think a lot of people, I would see that when I had my practice too, people would come and say, oh, I tried this, it doesn't work. I tried this herb, it doesn't work.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of times um, if you're looking for a medicinal and therapeutic effect from a
Yeah.
tea, let's say, you're much better off buying the loose herbs yourself and making your own tea blend. So using a little strainer that you can buy, a mesh strainer,
Right.
put your loose tea in there and then infuse it.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that comes already prepackaged,
Yes.
it loses a lot of its
I didn't even
potency.
know that. And like you
Yeah.
said, and they really doctor it up, right? They really put it in the pretty package. The little individual tea
Yeah.
bags is what we're talking about, which you
Yeah.
get some benefits. But like
Yes.
you mentioned, if you do loose leaf though, and you steep it over even night, you get what, 70 to 80% more of the.
Yeah, for specifically for herbs that we're looking for the vitamin and mineral content,
Okay.
the longer you steep it, the more you will extract out. So many people, you just dip it in your hot water a couple of times and start drinking it. But for example, we learned about oat straw in one of the classes, and oat straw is really nutrient rich. It's got a
Yeah.
ton of calcium and magnesium in it. And if you steep it overnight, 8 hours to 12 hours, you will dramatically increase the amount of nutrients that you are getting from that. Another one that I steep overnight frequently is stinging nettle. So
Yeah.
stinging nettle is one of the most nutrient rich herbs that's out there. It's
It's
more
better than
superfood
kale,
than
right?
kale.
Would you
Yeah,
say it's
better
better
than
than
kale.
kale? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, better than kale.
And
And
you
it's
get to
got
drink it. You don't have to eat it, which is so cool because I like drinking a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like instead of just drinking water all day, we can be drinking herbal teas, which are
Yeah.
giving us not only the hydration, but also the naturally occurring minerals and phytonutrients. It's sending different messages to our body. We thrive on diversity. And
Mhm.
part of modern life is that our diversity has gotten much more narrow. Even 100 years ago, there was something like there's this great graphic from National Geographic, and it was comparing 100 years ago. You might have been able to get 60 varieties of apples, let's say. Now you might be able to get 6. Or there were 40 types of lettuces, and now maybe now we can get 3. So herbs are another way we can give our body nutritional diversity. And the more
Mm.
diversity we hit, we're giving our body more information, more nutrients. And I'm not just talking about vitamins and minerals, but plants, all plants. When you eat an orange, you're not just eating vitamin C. There
Mhm.
are thousands and thousands of other nutrients in there that right now science just kind of lumps and calls accessory nutrients.
Mm.
They're doing something in our body, and our body knows what to do with them when
Mm.
you eat the whole orange. So it's the same with herbs. When you drink a whole herb, you're getting a whole flood of information for your body that your body knows what to do with.
Yes, amazing. And then let's mention that apple cider fighter, apple cider fire,
Yeah.
fire, apple cider.
Yeah.
'Cause that was one of the first things I've actually purchased from you. And I had been told I had a nut allergy, and I'm sure other people got, some allergies are really allergies. But I
Yes.
actually went to the allergenist, and then he was like, no, you don't. You don't have it. He poked me with,
Mm,
the little stuff on the
yeah.
back. But
Yeah.
every time I had a symptom after I ate any kind of nut and seed, I'd break
Mm,
out with white pustules. And so once I bought your apple cider fighter, your fire apple cider, fire cider, I took a swig and I was like, you know what? Something just told me innately, you're going to be able to eat peanut butter now. So I tried it. I did it at home, and I was never anaphylactic, by the way. This was just
okay. Yeah.
a, a manifestation for my skin that I would have these pustules happen after I eat the nuts.
Yeah.
And long behold, I woke up the next day with no pustules. So it was all
Yeah.
really digestive.
Yes.
Something in the gut was not digesting these nuts and seeds.
Yeah, I love making herbal remedies too. So that's something that I have put more of my energy into because, like
It
you
tastes
said,
so
like
good too.
it's,
It tastes so good.
oh, I'm so glad it's been helpful for you. Yeah. So one of my big hits, I guess, is fire cider, which is a traditional folk remedy that is an infusion of some really potent healing herbs and foods in an apple cider vinegar base.
Wow.
So the basic
Can I
recipe.
mention one thing? I
Yeah.
love that you use local ingredients too when you can.
Thank you.
Love that.
Yes, yes, I'm really trying, and that's one of my big goals this year is to try to move over more towards that. But yeah, I've been able to use local honey. I've been able to use local garlic and some fresh herbs, even herbs that I have grown myself. So that's been
Mhm.
really fun. And I mean, it's a tonic that can be taken daily to support digestion, like you were saying. And many of our illnesses start in the gut. And like you were saying, you were having a skin manifestation. And we always say that like what's happening in the gut will manifest on the skin. So if you see somebody with skin issues, you know that there's a digestive problem going on there.
Right.
So it's so the apple cider vinegar is infused. The main ingredients are horseradish, onion, garlic, and then some sort of hot chili pepper
Mhm.
infused in the apple cider vinegar. And then when it's strained, we add a little bit of honey. And then just taking like anywhere from a tablespoon to an ounce a day helps to stoke that digestive fire. In Ayurveda, they call that the Agni. So that is your ability to digest not just your
Right.
food, but the world.
Uh-huh.
And
And not have any negative manifestations other than if you're really allergic to something. Like if you have celiac disease, you should probably stay away from gluten, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
This
even
is
me with my nuts, I still eat them in moderation. I don't have them for meals, you know?
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just great advice in general, moderation in everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, so the fire cider is good for the digestion. It's really good for strengthening immunity. It's good for circulation. It
Yeah.
provides
Because it
even
does
just
have a kick to it.
yes, it does. There's ginger in it, and sometimes I make them seasonally and kind of what's
Yeah.
calling to me. So I've made them before with turmeric to again help with that inflammation. And like right now, I've got a batch brewing that is full of fresh dandelion leaf
Nice.
and cilantro and
Oh,
parsley, rosemary, and thyme. So it's going to be a very
mm.
spring greening kind of
Yeah. I got like
blend.
leprechaun vibes off of it. Like when you mentioned it, like little fairy leprechaun vibes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be buying a bottle of that because I'm almost low on I'm low on my last one.
Yeah.
Um, and you make this, and I want everyone to go follow your Instagram. Everyone, please go follow her because she
Oh,
shares her making this amazing stuff, and you put so much love and labor and
yeah.
intention into it. It's
I
beautiful. It's so
do.
beautiful for me to witness you making it.
Thank you. It's part of my journey too, is learning about how much power our intention has. So as I'm, whatever I'm making, and this goes for like when we're making dinner or when we're making lunch for ourselves, we're, looking at our thoughts and even, every time you stir, like putting in an intention of health and happiness, or, before when you pour your tea, just taking a moment to thank it and ask it to go in your body where it needs to go. I think that's part of the reason why
Mhm.
the fire cider has been so popular. I mean, people have just really fallen in love with it. I kind of just started like, I've been making it for myself probably for about 20 years for my family.
Wow.
So it just kind of started spreading. Like, I gave it to a friend, they told a friend, they told a friend.
It's
Yeah. And
sexy
now
too.
I'm,
The bottles you put it in are like sexy too and like witchy. I love it.
thanks.
It's like we get to
Thank
get out of
you.
your magic cauldron, out of your magical cauldron that you make for us. I really feel
Thank
the
you.
resonance of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And taste it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Anything else
Yeah.
you'd like to mention, Miss Amber, before we close out?
I just want to reiterate that our bodies are made to heal. they are made to heal. And we have come far from knowing about ourselves. So really, if I hope that if you leave this conversation with any message, it's that we can relearn the wisdom of our bodies and know ourselves. And when we know ourselves and can understand the messages that our bodies are healing, anything is possible.
Yeah. Gotta take a breath on that. I felt that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much. You are just so brilliant, and the way you show up in the world, and a well of knowledge, and here to help each other, our sisters, our community. And I for sure have benefited so much by just knowing you. So thank
I
you,
received
everyone.
that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking the time here. And make sure to everyone go follow Miss Amber. She's on Instagram, Facebook. I'll put all her handles down below. Thank you all for watching this. Give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments and questions or anything too, go ahead and write them down in the comment section of this video. And we will have you on again in the future.
Okay.
I know we
Great.
will.
Thanks, Marianne. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I love you.
I love you too.
Namaste.
Namaste.